just want to say a very happy new year to each and every one of you. Today is my first vlog for 2018, and this vlog is geared directly towards my people. And when I say my people, I'm talking my people of the African descent, scattered right across the world, but especially in my homeland of Jamaica. We have seen 1,600 plus people murdered in this country, which makes us the fourth in terms of murder scattered right across the world. In some countries where there are millions of people, New York City for one, and they have not recorded 500 people killed. There must be a reason why black people are killing black people. In Chicago, we thought we had it bad in Jamaica, but well over 3,000 blacks have killed each other. What is the reason? Why are we killing each other? Why we lack the ability that we once had as creators of the universe to love each other, care for each other, and share with each other. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explore the Willie Lynch syndrome, or the Willie Lynch letter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in all honesty, it has been said that this particular letter is an hoax. But believe me, I personally know, based on my levels of observation of us and how we behave, this letter is just as authentic as it can ever be. I'm going to share it with you, ladies and gentlemen, and then I'm going to come back and give you my commentary. Let's take a listen. The reputed author, William Lynch, identifies himself as the master of a modest plantation in the British West Indies, who has been summoned to the Virginia colony by local slave owners to advise them on problems they have been having in managing their slaves. He briefly notes that their current violent method of handling unruly slaves, lynching, though the term is not used, is inefficient and counterproductive. Instead, he suggests that they adopt his method, which consists of exploiting differences such as age and skin color in order to pit slaves against each other. This method, he assures his host, will control the slave for at least 300 years. 300 years. Let's get now into the in-depth part of the Willie Lynch letter. It was recorded in 1712. Black people, I want you to pay close attention, because I know a lot of you have heard of the Willie Lynch syndrome, but never took the time to read it, or even have someone read it to you, because you might think it's not important, because that's how your mind has been rearranged to think. Take some time out now and listen. Maybe this will change the course of your destiny as of today, the 1st of January 2018. Listen, black people. It goes like this. William Lynch, The Untold Story of 1712. and the message is still true today. Gentlemen, I greet you on the banks of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I'm here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I've experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest method for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its old highways in great numbers, you're here using the tree and rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple of miles back. You're not only losing valuable stocks by hanging, you're having uprising, slaves are running away, your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit, you suffer occasional fires, your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I'm not here to enumerate your problems. However, I'm here to introduce you to a method of solving your problem. This is how Willie Lynch in 1712 constructed a format that rearranged the slave's mind, especially in the Caribbean. And it is though swept right across the world because it is practiced by a lot of colonial masters, and it is teach from one generation to the other how to control you, a black man. And it goes, in my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if it is installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and use them wisely. On the top of my list is age, but it is there only because it starts with the letter A. The second is color or shade. There's intelligence, size, sex, size of the plantation, status on the plantation, attitudes of owners, whether the slaves lives in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, or south, a fine ear, a coarse ear, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generations for hundreds of years maybe thousands. Listen, black people, listen. Now this is the formula, this is the key core formula. And I want you to pay attention how this was done. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slave, and the light-skinned slave versus the dark-skinned slave. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseer distrust all black people, but it is necessary. Your slave must trust and depend on you. They must love, respect, and trust only you. Gentlemen, these kits are the keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity to use them. If used intensively for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful of each other. I thank you, gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the letter goes on in details of how they pit the male against the female. But I can tell you this, what they use most is fear. And once the black man develops fear, then he becomes weak. He cannot even think. This is a scenario, ladies and gentlemen. And when they want to control your mind, they'll take all the slaves out of the plantation. They'll take a pregnant woman. They'll take a woman with just a little baby holding on, little baby slave. And they'll take all the strong black slaves, male, and line them up in the courtyard. Then they'll take the most prominent slave, strip him naked, tar him and feather him, and beat him to a pulp. Then they'll call for 2 horses. They'll tie his left arm and his left leg to a horse going east. And they'll tie his right arm and his right leg to a horse going west. Then they'll beat on that horse and rip him right in 2. I know it sounds a little gory, isn't it? But this is the truth. I got up out of my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning to bring you this message, because my ancestors speaks to me when I sleep. What was demonstrated to you a while ago drives fear in that mother who was that little child. Drives fear in that mother who is pregnant with that baby, because the same amount of stress the mother endures, her baby, her unborn baby endures the same amount of stress. And because the woman, and we tend to believe it because we've been brainwashed not to believe it, the woman is our center of leadership. The woman, if given a rightful place on this earth, there'll be no wars or rumors of wars. So they use the woman against the male. Remember, the female against the male. And what that mother will do with that unborn baby, every time she rubs her belly and she think about what she saw in the courtyard of that prominent slave getting ripped apart, she'll talk to her baby. She'll say, listen here, see, I don't want when you're born you get ripped in 2, so obey your master, yeah? Obey your master. Do everything that master say, you hear? Because What I saw, I would not want that to happen to you. That's the mother with the unborn baby. And then the mother with the young child will hold her child and stare him in the face and say, listen, what we both just saw, I don't want that to happen to you. So anything Massa say, listen to Massa. Anything Massa say, listen to Massa. Don't you think about running away, you hear? Don't you think we can't trust those other slaves? We only trust Massa. Fast forward now to 2018. Armed with this great piece of information that has been taught many times over by some of our great orators, Dr. John Henrik Clarke, Professor Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Ben Joseph Buchanan, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Nelson Mandela. These great freedom fighters have taught us and have left the black print for us to emancipate our mind. Not until you begin to see Africa as a nation which belongs to you, not until you gain that concept of Africa in your mind, gain that concept of building a nation in your mind, and all you will be are slaves. Marcus Garvey, the Right Honorable Marcus Garvey, said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Bob Marley took it and he put it in a song. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Jamaicans and black people scattered right around the world, I'm coming to you from the core of my heart. I'm not against the white man, because he does what he do and he does what he do best. My Jegna Eru Aishaka Musa Menelik taught me this. He said, powerful people will not teach powerless people how to be powerful. Let me say that again. My Jegna Eru Aishaka Musa Menelik states, powerful people will not teach powerless people how to be powerful. And that is why the teaching of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, even though it was promised by then Minister Ronald Thwaites for it to be in our classroom, as we enter now, today the 1st of January, that is yet to happen. So I'm imploring all of you, every single Jamaican who can read and write, take it upon your responsibility now. You have seen what they have done to us, our generation upon generation upon generation. You now must take up the mantle of Nanny of the Maroon, the mantle of Paul Bogle, the mantle of Sam Sharp, the mantle of Marcus Garvey, the mantle of Malcolm X, the mantle of Martin Luther King, the mantle of Nelson Mandela. Take these mantles, learn and run with it. Teach it to every one of your friends and your children, because only us, like the Honorable Marcus Garvey says, can free our mind. Only you can free your mind from the concept that you were molded into. They took away your history. They took away the knowledge of self. They took away the knowledge of culture. They took away the knowledge of language. They took away the knowledge of your spirituality. they strip you down to nothing, and then they remold your mind into who they want you to be. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my first vlog to you. And the reason why I'm coming to you this way is because I love you. I love my skin color. I look in the mirror and I admire myself. And not until you can start loving yourself, what you look like, what you sound like, who you are, then and only then you can teach that to your fellow man or your fellow sister. Remember, we are in this together. We are our brother's keeper. And as the African saying goes, man, know thyself. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. And I do hope that this year 2000 and beyond will be more informed, more educated, more intelligent, more sociable, and more in love with each other. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.